Have you bought into the bullshit self-love narrative? Well, then stay on because we need to talk. I want to address this once and for all, but from a very different perspective. Because if you start Googling, you will find lots of resources and videos and articles. Psychologists are speaking up against this new narrative, this new craze, but I want to look at it from my experience point of view, what I experience with the workforce. And I also spoke to my clinical psychologist friends. I'm like, am I wrong here? I'm like, help me out. Yes, I studied psychology, but obviously they are the experts in that. And they said, oh no, we've been screaming about it for a while now, but nobody is listening. So this is what we are going to talk about. Hi, I'm Sylvia, an organizational psychologist, and I talk about everything and anything related to HR and an employee experience. And my cat is very naughty today, so forgive him if he is ruining this video. So subscribe and follow so you don't miss out. And let's get into this self-love narrative, because the experiences that I have, and even these clinical psychologist friends of mine who are often called into organization to talk about well-being, positive psychology, and they talk data. They don't talk about the bullshit. And each time people go, yeah, so everything starts with self-love. And she looks at them, she goes like, I never said that. I would never say that. And people, all they can think about is self-love. Now, let me start with this. You can't love yourself. And because just think about it. You understand how to love this cat, how to love your partner, your friends, another human being, another pet, an animal, right? But you don't know how to love yourself. You don't have that feeling. Like, how can you? You were not designed, because love must be given by others. And if you are trying to replace that because you are not being loved, that's not going to work. That's a very short road, love. Don't do this. Because this is what's happening most of the time. People are not feeling loved, or maybe they are not loved by anybody. We live in a messed up world, and that can easily happen. And then they come up because we have this natural need to be loved, to belong, and nobody can argue with that. So then they come up with, I don't need anybody to love me, I will love myself. Well, that's years of therapy, I would say. That's years of therapy, because you just can't. Just tell me, when was the feeling that you can recall that you felt about yourself the same way when you fell in love with the guy, with the girl, with whoever. When your dog died, when your pet got sick, when your mother is in the hospital. Is this how you feel about yourself? Or when you really love someone, is that butterfly. Have you ever had butterflies about yourself in your stomach? That's just silly. And we know that, right? So that's a coping mechanism, and I really don't mind that. Sometimes we all do. Sometimes we turn to coping mechanisms when we are really lost and we really don't know what to do, how to go forward. That's okay. But just don't stay there, because self-love narrative is a made-up concept. It's a coping mechanism because we are not feeling loved, or nobody is really loving us, and we need that. But you can't replace it by loving yourself, because it's a very self-centered way of living, and we know the depression, anxiety, and all the other kind of mental health issues, statistics on being self-centered. The more you think about yourself, the more depressed, anxious, and all that you get. So what are the things that you can actually use in terms of, or how you should be looking at yourself? And here I'm just looking at the words that I got from my clinical psychologist friends. So they normally talk about self-regard, the way you look at yourself, the way you perceive yourself. Self-respect is massive. Self-efficacy, what you are capable of doing. I think people with a healthy self-respect rather than love, I think I respect myself. And I have a high level of self-efficacy in terms of, I know I can do more than I could, right? And this self-love narrative, accept yourself, who you are, where does it leave who you could be? Now, don't beat yourself up. And every normal psychologist will tell you that. Don't beat yourself up. No. But what you do is you face reality. And when you are looking for, when you are talking about self-love, it means that nobody is loving you, my love. It's when you don't have self-respect, when you don't have self-regard, when you don't have, an honest opinion about yourself, is because maybe nobody loved you. And I hate to say it, and I'm not here to beat anybody up or, to tell you that, hey, it's shit. I don't know, I never had that, because I grew up, my father always said, hey, you walk across the street, that you are the best thing happened to human beings. And it did never made me arrogant, it never made me cocky, but I have that self-confidence in me that, you know what, life will get really difficult. I will make mistakes. I will miss out on opportunities. I will be a horrible person to so many people probably. I don't know. I will help even more people. I am capable of love, and I deserve to be loved. And that always carried me forward. So I never looked for self-love. I never looked for, people need to be understanding. I'm actually very tough on myself, just as much I'm tough on others. Like, hey, life is difficult, get on with it. It will be difficult for all of us. And self-acceptance and facing truth. Facing the truth. So it's all about, if I'm looking for self-love or I'm occupied with self-love, what does it mean? Ask yourself the question. Nobody loved you before. Nobody is loving you right now. Are you trying to replace that? And I have the same conversation about the empathy and narrative, I'm like, what happened to people that everybody needs so much empathy from others? So whenever you are looking for something, you need to look into why. And this is where the problem lies. This is where your solution is. So don't fall for this self-love narrative, because it's not going to help you. It's not going to solve any of your problem. Respect yourself. Have very high and healthy level of self-regard, self-efficacy. Accept yourself and then move forward. Hey, this is the situation, whatever it is. But what is it that I can become? How can I get a different, how can I find love? Why is my parents not loving me? Why do my parents, why don't they love me? Or whoever you're missing it from. Maybe you had a horrible parent, growing up and you did not feel loved. That's okay. We all have stories. You are not special. Nobody is. Literally nobody is. And that's the self-centered approach that the self-love and cuddling culture raised and created, that we think we are special. Nothing is special about any of us. There are maybe very few people on this planet who are special. They created something special, something really special happened to them, but there are literally maybe 100 people on this planet. So no, you are not special. You are experiencing exactly what everybody else is experiencing. So that comes into the victim mindset, right? So it's all thrown into the same bucket, to be honest, because these are all created these narratives in the past 10, 15 years that, my circumstance. Okay, cool. Stand on your circumstances, not in them. Because where are you going to go with self-pity? Where are you going to go with your victim story? Where are you going to go with self-love? Not far, I tell you that. So organizations, when you are talking about well-being, can you please stop talking about self-love? People need a healthy self-respect, and that's very different. And when they don't have that, maybe they don't even deserve it at the moment, and that's okay, because I've been a shitty person. I haven't contributed anything to my family Hey, to my family, to my neighbors, to the society, to, I cheated all my exams. I know people who get their PhDs. Are you mad? PhDs by paying others, and then they are working in. Now, of course, these people will not respect themselves because they know that they are cheating their way through life. So, when you don't have that, ask yourself the question why. Face reality and solve the problem. Go from there. And don't beat yourself up. Nobody is perfect. And when you made mistake, all you have to do is, you know what? It didn't work. I made a mistake. I want to change that. And that's it. Move forward. Like, you don't need to dwell on things. You don't need to get caught up in narratives. Face facts. Because I'm telling you, the self-love narrative is not going to take you far. I hope this helped. And get out of this topic, I swear to God. Now let me go and deal with my cat.